What use does AI have for ordinary people like us? What kind of jobs can we do after learning AI? What kind of jobs can we do after learning AI? What will AI turn our future into? With the AI era approaching, do we ordinary folks need to feel anxious? The current AI landscape is like a classroom. But then one day, a transfer student named DeepSeek arrives. The top student, though excellent academically, is very pragmatic. When other classmates ask him for help with questions, he only gives the answers without explaining the process. To ensure no one surpasses him, his wealthy father buys up all the study materials and tutoring books on the Even if he can't read them all, he makes sure others can't get their hands on them. Over time, the other students come to accept that overtaking the top student is impossible. But then one day, a transfer student named DeepSeek arrives. Dressed simply and quiet by nature, he's barely noticed by the rest of the class. Yet, in his very first exam, he takes first place. Many refuse to accept it, insisting he must have cheated. DeepSeek doesn't bother explaining. Instead, he simply shares his study notes and learning methods publicly. The former top student, the rich kid, is dumbfounded. His father's expensive tutoring books are now practically worthless. The rest of the class is stunned. This newcomer is breaking all the rules of honor, they say. But while their mouths complain, their actions betray them. They eagerly start studying DeepSeek's freely shared notes and methods. Rumor has it that DeepSeek's founder, Liang Wenfeng, returned home for the new year escorted by dozens of special police officers. But whether it's true or not, I hope it is, because in my lifetime, I've finally seen someone surrounded by bodyguards who isn't a celebrity or DeepSeek's free and open source approach could accelerate AI's entry into ordinary people's lives by several times. Let me share a personal example. When I was in middle school, computer viruses were a common occurrence. Every computer needed antivirus software costing hundreds of yuan, some domestic, some imported. We had computer classes in a special microcomputer room with thick curtains, sealed windows, and shoe covers required upon entry. The teacher said computers were sensitive to dust. Back then, computers seemed fragile both physically and conceptually in the public's eyes. But then, suddenly, antivirus software became free. Soon after, for some reason, we rarely heard about computers getting viruses anymore. Even when dust piled up on home or internet cafe computers, they didn't break down. DeepSeek's free access lets more people use AI, and its open source nature lets more people study AI. So, DeepSeek could usher us into a true AI era ahead of schedule. So, what exactly does AI do for ordinary people? Simply put, it turns automatic into self-deciding how to act. The last technological revolution that truly impacted ordinary people's lives was when manual labor was largely replaced by automation, like farmers cutting wheat by hand versus a harvester, or machines taking over jobs in factories. That wave of automation involved humans making machines repeat actions tirelessly. Machines without emotions, life, or complaints. But this time is different. The machines have a soul. Like humans, they grow smarter and more mature each day. Take early robotic vacuum cleaners, for example. They were called robots, but all they did was bump into obstacles and turn. Bumbling around like that, they could barely clean the floor adequately. Compare that to hiring a cleaner. They'd focus on dirty spots and skip areas that were already clean. An AI-controlled vacuum, however, would judge and plan its cleaning like a human cleaner. One day, if you force it to clean a spot it deems unnecessary, it might even argue with you. For us ordinary folks, AI isn't just a tool. It's an enhancement in certain aspects of our lives. In the past, learning English, video editing, or driving meant mastering tools to help us do things more efficiently. But AI directly communicates with foreigners for us, edits videos for us, or drives for us. At this point, many might worry, I'm a translator, a driver, a video editor. Won't I lose my job once AI becomes widespread? Here's a crucial shift in mindset. It depends on how you define yourself. When excavators became common, they displaced workers who dug holes manually, but excavator operators earned a decent living. Humans are naturally distrustful of machines, so there will always be a need for someone to control or oversee AI. Just as an excavator needs a driver or an automated assembly line needs an observer, we shouldn't focus on which jobs AI will replace, but rather on which AI systems will always need a human overseer. This might spark another concern. What if my boss wants to cut costs and take risks, relying solely on AI without overseers? In reality, many employment and social dynamics will quietly evolve with the times. When we travel to less developed countries, we might see an elevator operator whose sole job is to press buttons for you, a role that might lag decades behind our own society. To them, an elevator without an operator feels futuristic. Similarly, as AI spreads, you may no longer need to be employed by someone. The employer-employee model might give way to a partnership model. You won't be tied to a single job that consumes all your time, much of which might be wasted on repetitive, unproductive tasks. In the future, you could juggle multiple jobs and income streams without feeling more exhausted than you do now, because AI will handle the time-wasting grunt work for you. In the AI era, anyone who can harness AI might become their own boss. Things will flatten out and diversify. Looking back, society has been evolving in this direction for years. When I was a kid, our factory owned a fleet of trucks. Back then, few people could drive, so truck drivers were often idle and would help out with repairs for other departments, generally nice folks. But later, transportation companies emerged, and factories stopped maintaining their own fleets. Those drivers who joined logistics firms ended up with more work and higher pay. When you shift from being employed to partnering with others, you'll want to earn more and expand your business. That means either getting more orders or mastering more skills. More orders are hard to come by, but gaining skills in the AI era isn't difficult for those willing to try. When I was in college, a classmate skilled in Photoshop mocked me for only using a simpler editing tool, posting online that it's not real editing, Photoshop is editing. That tool, he said, just bundled complex Photoshop steps into shortcuts. It lacked the originality, freedom, and professionalism of Photoshop, but for beginners, it was good enough. Over the years, we've seen more and more automated software like this, increasingly powered by AI. Take AI image expansion, for instance, it's mind-blowing. 20 years ago, even simple self-media work required collaborating with a Photoshop expert. Now, I can handle it independently with basic tools, no technical know-how needed. In the future, you could rely on even more advanced robots to excel in multiple fields, becoming an expert in various domains. Society has been trending this way for decades. Bosses used to hire full-time drivers, but as automatic transmissions became standard, driving stopped being a specialized skill. Nowadays, many bosses ask assistants in interviews, "How's your driving?" Tools like that editing software or automatic cars merely shifted manual tasks to automation. But the AI era could bring exponential change. One person might master not just one or two skills, but enough to cover all roles in a company, or even run a one-person company staffed entirely by robots. This leads to a harsh reality. Whether AI lets one person master more skills and play more societal roles, or whether it turns you from a replaced worker into a controller or observer, fewer people will be needed to create the same or even greater value. So what happens to everyone else? I won't dive into conspiracy theories here, like the idea that people must stay busy to remain obedient. That might have worked in the past, but as material abundance grows, the human spirit will awaken, and more people will get Diamonds smarter. Are expensive because those who mine and sell them control supply. When factories in Hunan started producing synthetic diamonds identical to natural ones, that control slipped, and diamonds became cheaper as scarcity faded. Imagine if one day, every couple getting a marriage license received a diamond as casually as they get a marriage handbook. Humanity would stop competing over diamonds. Similarly, if AI creates such material abundance that nothing is scarce anymore, fulfilling all needs on demand, you could walk down the street, grab a free buffet when hungry, or hop into a free self-driving car to go anywhere. Just as today you can find a free restroom while shopping. What seems ordinary now wasn't widespread until recently. Yet, in today's world, and even the past, the main players are still humans. Some create value, others enjoy it. Each group creates value that might not be what they need themselves, but what others need, and vice versa, leading to trade. Money is the token of that trade. But if AI eventually replaces all value creators, trade might fade away and money, and earning it, might lose its necessity. The wonder of this world lies in finding hope in despair. Just when many of us felt life was growing hopeless, DeepSeek appeared out of nowhere, free and open source.